Hey all, ex-art student here. Today I'm making a Victorian letter. I got this inspiration to do it from inkypen_Jessa. She gave me the idea to do it. I've seen a bunch of Pinterest posts about it and I've loved it and always wanted to do it, and now is the time. As you can see, I'm struggling with trying to fold it and put it all together. I looked at a bunch of tutorial videos, and I think because it's close to origami, I can't wrap my head around origami, so I had some issues. Eventually I figured it out, thankfully. Now that I'm getting the shape down that I needed to figure out which design I wanted to do. I had an idea to draw moths on this, flowers, or mermaids. I do moths quite often. I didn't really know if I was in the mood to draw a bunch of flowers, so I figured let's draw some mermaids, let's make this fun. I didn't really have much of a plan for this. I just figured let me do some fancy fonts and make it ocean themed as well as obviously mermaid themed. I did eventually wind up sketching these two sections of the Victorian letter. I figured the square part could have all the shells and then the inside could have mermaids swimming on each panel as well as a beautiful octopus in the middle. I just looked up simple line work of shells on Pinterest that I had saved for my niece's mermaid party, and I used that as my reference when drawing these shells on here. I didn't want it to be lifelike or intricate. I wanted it to look very illustrative, look like there's a bunch of sketch marks and hand-drawn. With this letter, you should plan where you want everything, but I didn't want it to be perfectly planned. I knew that I just wanted shells on here, and I chose the shapes and the shells that I liked, filled in spots that were too much blank space. I basically went in with a loose plan and then used my gut for whatever else that I thought it needed. Now it's time to open it up and figure out what to put on these triangular panels. At first I was going to draw mermaids on every single one, but then I thought, how cool would it be to have written words everywhere? Because it's supposed to be a letter, so might as well write stuff. And this is where I changed from mermaid to sirens, and I used information from these two websites about the lore of sirens. I used DaFont to help me figure out the font style. I wanted it to be a medieval, dark kind of font because I wanted the message to come across. This is mature, this is darker, these are serious topics, because it's basically mermaids leading people to die in order to be near them. And here I'm drawing a skeleton of a stingray. I was originally going to put a octopus here, but I didn't want too many fins and tentacle-y things going throughout this letter. I just wanted it to mainly be focused on the sirens. This was so exciting to open, but then I realized, oh my gosh, that's a lot of blank space. What am I going to draw here? Naturally, I chickened out and worked on a different part of the letter. I didn't like how the square had these blank spaces that turned into the triangles eventually, so I wanted to add a bit more font on there with different siren lore to fill it up and make it look a little better. There was literally nowhere else to draw on, so I had to work on the middle section of my letter. Here I figured I would put a siren or a mermaid in the middle. I just didn't know the pose I wanted, and maybe I put shells in the corners. I've seen people do different designs with the middle section, so I thought it'd be fun to play around. Eventually I landed on using quotes again from the research that I did, and I thought it'd be really cool and creepy to just have little tidbits about sirens. I obviously wanted to show the danger of these creatures in my letter. I didn't want to hand letter all of these in that medieval font, but I figured for short sentences like "come take my hand," that would be cool and creepy coming from the siren. The rest was kind of just more like a letter of warning to a person coming across a siren. Maybe they came across this little letter and they're like, oh, okay, don't mess with sirens. I didn't want to draw shells like I originally planned on the inside of this letter. This is where the main siren's going to be. She's going to be attractive and alluring, but extremely dangerous. So I wanted these pieces of coral everywhere to go with that creepy vibe, but the siren's going to look beautiful, but yet you know that she's going to F you up if you go near her. I think I was also going for the bottom of the ocean, a grotto, grimy, scary kind of look. I really wanted you to feel like you were deep underwater and in danger. Like, this is not a safe place, but when you see the siren, you're confused about it. And that's the whole point of sirens. Confusing to lure you, and then they mess with you. When it came to drawing the siren, I wanted to keep her in my style. I wanted flowy hair, and her tail is more snake-like than what I normally do, which is those curly cues for the tail. I really wanted her to look untrustworthy and just really slithery and creepy, as well as being beautiful and powerful. I usually draw this method for scales, and I don't know if I'm really into it. Of course, it does give the illusion of quick scales, but part of me kind of wants to do the whole thing like you see on a snake, every single scale, but I know it will take a very long time. Then I went in with simple line work shading, kind of hatch mark-esque, more just straight lines and then sometimes hatching. I wanted to just follow the shape of the body in order to make it more round. I also really leaned in at parts with the shading to show that she was very evil, bring that darkness underneath her eyes, or where there's definitely shadows underneath her neck, make it like really dark, so then it's like, ooh, she's mysterious and creepy and evil. After I was done with the shading, I kind of felt like she was empty looking, so I made her ears pointy, added some fins to her arms, made some strings that were attached to her as if it's leftover fabric or some kind of rope that was holding her in place. I added some of these bubble section, like, you know when you look up through the water at light and you see these bubbles? So I did that, but also kind of made it look like seaweed as well, and I felt like it added to that grimy creepiness, and I just quickly went in with some line work to add darkness to the background. Adding this line work, I felt, really tied everything together and added to that grimy darkness, scariness of the whole piece. Let's take a look at it. So here's the front of our square. We have the shells. We have an M for mermaid. Accidentally, should have been S for siren, but that's okay. We're going to open it up. And we have words like danger. We have dead fish everywhere. Attract, because that's what sirens do. More dead fish. Then we have our mermaids, quotes, and stingray. One side says female human-like beings with alluring voices, and the other side says a symbol of dangerous temptation. As we open it up, we get to see the coral, the siren, and the quotes. Of course, the siren saying, "Come take my hand." On the left side, it says a mermaid-like woman who sits among the rocks in the sea. And on the right side, it says, "They sing with such bewitching beauty that sailors lose all power of self-control." Now that we know what the whole thing looks like, let's take a look at those really close-up shots to see those beautiful details. And that's my Victorian letter. Let me know if you decide to do one too in the comments below. Thanks so much for checking me out. Subscribe, like, comment if you would like. Check out my social media. I have a sale going on my Etsy. And I can't wait to see you next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.